Thank you, ma'am. If you remember a few lessons back, you asked about, if I remember correctly, it was the possessive pronoun or being after, and so on and so forth. And I told you that sometimes it's embedded within the word. Mashlomcha is a conjugation of shalom. And I'll write it down in a minute. I want to show it to you. That's one of those things I left out of the syllabus for this class. We did bridge the gap of how do you say how are you? Other ways. There are several others we learned. But I guess what I want to do today before I jump into that example is a quick review of last lesson, like always, and a summary of the lesson. I can't believe it's been so fast. And I will say we have two guest people in the lesson today, our rabbi and my little brother, who's will be right in and probably talking to Rick outside. So yeah, today is the 12th lesson. Thank you all for being here. I'm very excited. I do want to say before I jump into the examples and stuff is that we finished our material at hand. What I want to do today, on top of summarizing, is really maybe a few more examples. And I want to talk about several other things. That being said, I will now erase the board. For those writing down, it says Shalom Har Sinai, hello Mount Sinai, or Mountain Sinai. It's not shortened. Har means mountain. Manishma. What is being heard? We also remember Makore, what's happening? And now I want to talk about the example I just mentioned to Jeff, because I want us to know that it's out there. One of the problems I faced building and teaching this class is that there's a lot to learn. We have 1.5 hours a week. Mary's still writing, so I'm talking. Okay. By all means, so I want to show you that, and perhaps maybe after that review last lesson real quick, and then summarize the class. So we know the word shalom.
Yeah. Don't need to say a word.
We know the word shalom, which means either hello or peace. I'm going to write down that example I told you about, sir, on the bottom. And I'm going to add a word here. So we have here the word shalom. We already know it. We spoke about it. It means hello or peace. Here we have the word yours. Speaking to a male, I'll do the female in a moment. Okay, shelcha, yours. Ze shelcha, Jeff. This is yours, Jeff, for example. Now here, I forgot to follow this. If you remember our last few lessons back, we spoke about verb molds and verb roots. Here you can see this word is basically shalom. This is a mem. We see here is its final form. And then basically you have the chaf with the kamatz making it an ah sound. So shlomcha. It has the what in front of it? Ma shlomcha. It sounds like shelcha. Okay, like yours. That's because the yours is embedded in the shalom. Okay, ma shlomcha is how is your peace, or what is your peace? Okay, making it skinny. Where comes context? And we know it means how are you? Okay, how is your peace? Is the essence of the question. And it comes from the word shalom. If I want to do the female version, the only thing that will change are the vowels, making it sound like a femalization of the word. Oh. So if shelcha is for a man, speaking to a man, this is yours, or how is your peace? A woman would be, I'm changing the vowels here. Saying yours to a woman is shelach. Shelach. And consequently, when we make it this question, how is your peace? A female version, the vowels will change as well, and I am now changing them. Anyone want to read it? Well done, man. And you guys were almost there. Mashlomech. Mashlomech. Sounds a lot like shelach. This is 3, sir.
I'm at the first.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 2 dots. This is a bad angle for the chalk. Mashlomech, how is your peace? Speaking to a woman. Hello, ma'am, good evening. You know what, this is a good time to actually hand out the rest of the worksheets. Phyllis just joined us. I'm gonna hand out the other worksheets for everyone, for Phyllis and everyone. You didn't get one, I think. This is for you. Thank you. No. Okay. So for those joining us, yeah, I handed out the worksheets. They are on the email as well. Ma'am, just to help you jump in the loop here with us, I'm giving an example about something that was asked a few weeks ago. This is something that I gutted from our syllabus, but I wanted to show in the sense of knowing that it's there. How do you ask, how are you? Usually. And I'm sure you all heard it before, which is why I'm referring to it. We just did the male example. I'm going to continue to the female example, but ma shlomech. For a male, it was ma shlomcha. We spoke about how it sounds like the possessive pronoun, okay? And in this sense, the possessive pronoun is embedded into the word, okay? And we can see it here, ma'am. Shalom, we know the word shalom, either peace or hello. So when I ask ma shlomech, and we can clearly hear that this is derived from shalom, except here we have the embedded possessive pronoun speaking to a female. Ma shlomech is how is your peace? Ma shlomech, man. How is your peace? Which we understand is how are you? So yeah. And so here's the thing about it. This is one example that is frequent. I spoke about how my name is an example for that, Matani. mine, sheli, ani, matani, which means mine. And we spoke about genders and pluralizations, how female is different from male, how plural females is different from plural males. So one of the reasons why I got at this is really because it's an exponential equation of conjugations that I wanted to make a lot simpler. Because this becomes mashlomchem, mashlomchen, mashlomcha, mashlomech, and everything becomes 20 other examples. We can, with what we learned, we can definitely follow this. We can also get by without it. We bridged the gap by saying ma nishma, ma kore, what is heard, what is happening. Questions so far? At home, on Zoom. Awesome. I see Rabbi joined on Zoom as well. Which leads me, I'm gonna glance at my paint slide from last class. I'm not presenting it, I'm not sharing screen. I just want to refer to it real quick. For some reason, I don't know why you can't really see the projector. Okay. What's going on?
Getting the dog.
Yeah, that's Max and our dog Spot. But why can't I? See? What? Oh, awesome. Awesome. So now it's fixed. I'm gonna glance at my presentation while everyone's writing. Yeah. So maybe I will share screen actually. This paint slide is what we did last week. Trying to make it full screen. You should see it on Zoom. And here's the thing. So last time we did the seasons of the year, kites, summer, choref, winter, and so on and so forth. And we started numbers. The numbers we kind of stopped halfway because I want to understand the idea less than memorize. Once we understand the function, then memorizing like a parrot is less necessary, at least is what worked for me. But this is available to us all at any given time. So we stopped at 4 and we stopped at 4D. I'm gonna do like 2 more examples for the sake of efficientness. And I am gonna stop sharing. I just wanted to show you what I'm referring to. I'm gonna erase the blackboard. But this is one of those things that, unfortunately, so as I was saying before, I will elaborate later on. I don't have time for many examples, and examples are crucial. That's how you spot the irregulars. That's how you spot the repeating sounds. You remember the ot, im, and so on and so forth. Let's do 5 and 50. I want to remind us that the grammar rule is that beyond or above 11, there's no need to stick to female or male. Go with either, it'll still be okay. To 11, it gets tricky. This is the female version. Male version is here. And again, this is one of those things that Israelis mix up all the time. Whenever I use a number in Hebrew, I automatically think to myself, wait, did I say that right? Oh, yeah. Or no, yeah, I need to correct myself. Remember one or either. It will work. Who wants to read? At home, in the classroom. Chamesh. Well done, man. Well done. Chamesh. I'll transliterate here. Means 5. Okay? But this is the female 5. Okay? So let's say 5 women. Chamesh nashim. You need me to write it bigger? Let me know. Chamesh nashim, 5 women. In this sense, the word woman is also grammatically female. If you remember, ma'am, we spoke about the fact that I didn't teach people, woman, man, because it's irregular, but for the sake of having female version. Chamesh nashim is how you say 5 women. Why? Because women is a female word. And chamesh is how to say 5 in female version. Which leads us to the male example. Any males want to try? At home, in the classroom?
Chamisha.
Well done, sir. Beautiful. Chamisha. Transliteration. Chamisha. And if you want to say 5 men, and it just so happens that the word man is male. And by the way, it's a coincidence. There are a lot of words that the meaning will be female, but how it's written is male and vice versa. But for the sake of right now, Chamisha Gvarim. Gvarim. Gimel with Shva underneath. Oh, I'm thinking about one letter. We have Bet without the emphasis, with the kamatz, making it Gva. Resh with the dot underneath, Gvari. What? Yud carrying the sound. Did someone have a question? And then the final man. Chamisha Gvarim. 5 men.
Say it again.
Chamisha Gvarim. Gvarim.
The.
Yeah, Gvarim. And we can also hear im at the end. Put aside nashim, that's a male pluralization. I did say that's an irregular. Here's a point about this. If we were to say chamisha nashim, it'll be wrong. But people will understand. The most common mistake Israelis do is use the female because it's lazier. Chamesh, and they will say chamesh gvarim. That's also grammatically incorrect. The right way is chamisha gvarim, chamesh nashim. But you'll always hear people saying chamesh gvarim, chamesh whatever, chamesh, because it's lazier. Yeah, we're lazy. So, any questions about that?
I have one, it's in the ah sound, but like Yelad and Yelda is Yelad is boy, right? Yelda is girl.
Yes, ma'am.
Chamisha is in that ah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm picky.
I agree with you. That's another reason why we always mix this up. You're right. This is a confusing repeating sound that doesn't make the same function.
Okay.
We always make mistakes in that. But for the sake of learning that correct, now you know both ways. I will say for the sake of traveling to Israel, destroy it as long as you choose either or, it'll work. So if there are no any questions, I'm gonna erase the board starting at the top. And I want to do 50. And I want to show you how A, the sounds repeat, and B, over 11, there's no grammar rule, go with either or. Last time we did Esrim, which is 20. Yeah, we showed how 21 can be either female or male. 21, 21. Now let's do the same with 50. Anyone want to try and reading it? Hamishim, well done. Well done. 50.
I saw the dog helper. The dog speaks Hebrew. Oh.
Hamishim, we can see the im sound because we pluralize this in the male form. There is no chamishot, for example. Okay, there is no chamishot. There is chamishim. And then we spoke how one can either be echad, write it down here, in a male form, echad, echad, or it can be achat, speaking about a female one. I'm writing it down here. Achat. Okay, and then two can be either shtayim, shnaim, three can be either shalosh or shlosha, and so on and so forth. We have them on the other slide for the sake of right now. How do you say 51? I'm going to write it down here. So we know 50 and we know 1. Hamishim, ve either the male version, like this, Hamishim ve echad, okay, so the male version, or the same thing, except female. So instead of ve echad, I'm going to do a big diagonal line here, Hamishim ve achat, Hamishim ve'achat, 51. Whoa, but what's the right way? There is no either or. Either or will work. There's no right way. Okay? Above 11, go with either or. To 11, it's kind of numbering. We spoke about the days of the week. Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni. So obviously those are not the numbers, but we are numbering. And numbering is specific in Hebrew until 11. Questions so far? Don't think I missed any voweling. At home. Yes. And the same will be for the other ones. We said 20, 21, 21. Either or will work. People are writing. I'm gonna glance at my notes here. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this writing on. What I'm gonna do now is share screen and move to my presentation. And I want to refer back to all that we learned during this class. So here's the thing. Sorry?
We know that Hebrew letters are also numbers.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that just biblical Hebrew where numbers or letters can be numbers?
So that's actually called in Hebrew gematria. And in English, I know we transliterate it into geometry. Gymmmetry. That's when you Google that, it literally tells you the Jewish allocation of value to letters. Why did they do that? That's definitely to be incorporated in the biblical Hebrew lesson. I would say just Aleph, every letter will have a numerical value. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Yud is 10. It's actually an interesting point, sir. You will see the Orthodox not count using numbers, they'll count using letters. They'll insist on it. So instead of saying, oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, they'll say Aleph, Bet, Gimel. It's beautiful to see and confusing at the same time. Did I answer, sir?
Yes.
Awesome. So here's the thing. I do believe classes, courses, trainings, whatever one undergoes, have mentalities to them. We set out to learn Hebrew for beginners. I will say modern Hebrew for beginners, Hebrew you can use in Israel, which is very different from biblical Hebrew. But yeah, just like any other class, ours had a mentality to it, is having a mentality to it. There was a lot of thought process behind the building of it, if I may. But just like any other class, we started out with enthusiasm. During the middle of it, yeah, we all have lives and it's been more difficult. And today we're hopefully finishing with a bang. So I want to refer back and see all that we did. Sometimes it takes a looking back to see all that we did, and that's what I want to do today. You definitely all deserved a kudos, a very much congratulations. You did a lot, you learned a lot. And this is what I want to go through real quick. We started with the history of Hebrew. If you remember Chaim Nachman Bialik, not just him, there was a school of thought that revived Hebrew. Israelis in those days insisted on speaking Hebrew, which is why I had to take Italian in college. There are many other examples like me. If you remember, he is the great uncle of Mayim Bialik from Jeopardy and The Big Bang Theory. We all love her very much in Israel. She comes to visit often. And one of the more important notes that we discussed and kept discussing as the lessons developed is the differences between Hebrew and English. There are many of them. If you remember this, the semantic field, and this graph before us is an exaggeration and not a real demonstration. But what I wanted to show you here is that there are things that exist in English and don't in Hebrew. Maybe I should do this so you can see it better in the classroom. There are things that exist in English and not in Hebrew, and there are things that exist in Hebrew and not in English. And we discussed several of them. We'll see that in a minute. And we saw, for the most part, at the last few lessons, I kind of tried to wean you all off from transliteration. And in hindsight, that probably was premature. And yeah, definitely transliteration. That's how we tackled things. I will say, if you remember, there is always the literal translation. Like how we said, how is your peace? Ma shlomcha. That's the literal translation. I will understand it as how are you? Okay. And we dedicated a big part of our class to Aleph Bet. We did not do handwritten Aleph Bet, what I mistakenly called cursive Aleph Bet in the first few lessons. But yeah, handwritten Aleph Bet. If anyone does want to take it up, I have a few good videos. Some of you did want to learn them, and I sent them privately. By all means, there's a lot more to learn, and we'll touch on that. And somewhere of the history, the Hebrew Aleph Bet, how it evolved, how it was in ancient times, how it is now. And here's probably one of the more important things to remember when practicing into the future, the vowels. We have our example here. Have you ever wanted to see what it would be like to read English with Hebrew vowels? And we sent out that we did say that sounds familiar very much, right? So, but that it speaks to the mentality, it speaks to how you think. And if you remember our vowels, and Kara just said this to me the other day, she keeps mistaking it with Spanish. Because in Spanish, the vowels will also be a, u, e, and so on and so forth. I will say it's also like that in Italian. But it speaks to the mentality. The more we see it, the more we read it, the more we hear it, the more we're likely to remember and not need the handy Hebrew helper for the future. I will say again, there's no shame in having the handy Hebrew helper next to you and reading letter by letter. We started out by doing that. By all means, there's no shame in it. I think that I had a handy English helper growing up, actually, with a smiley that says that O-U-E-I for the vowels. Yeah, I always made that drawing for me up until a very later age. Continuing on. We spoke about the definite article, hey. How do we say the? Ha. Spoke about it. We spoke about the trend, hey. Like we said, yamina, smola, leftwards, rightwards. Habaita, Kara, I want to go home. There was actually habaita on some of the songs we did that I sent via email. And continuing on. On the next to alha, leyadha. Truth be told, this is one of those that I wish I could have done more of, or thought of these. There are examples here, and if someone is really looking at this and thinking to themselves, I don't remember this, it's in the presentations by all means, and on the recordings, go back and refresh. No shame in it. And be or ba in at. We just had an example here. 51, 51. Side note, it's also how you say and in Turkish. And the infamous male versus female, masculine versus feminine, that drove me crazy building the worksheets to remember that I made sure, yeah, I wrote this is single female, singular male, and so on and so forth. Remember, as Kathy just told us, there are specific sounds that end, signaling to us that something is either male, ending with a consonant sound, gever, man, or sounds like a for female, isha, we can hear that it's female. Yeah. We did speak about how nationalities, roles, languages. That's actually something I want to stop share and do real quick on the blackboard because it is important. At some point last week, I realized I don't remember teaching you all how to say Hebrew. So for the sake of efficiency, I'm going to do that real quick. You do have the time for it. So a person who is Hebrew and male will be Ivri. A woman who is Hebrew, a Hebrew woman, will be Ivriya. Okay? And then how do you say the language Hebrew? Ivrit. Well done. Who said that? Well done, ma'am. Sorry for hiding the blackboard. I'm just about to step away. So man who's a Hebrew, like Moses. Moses was a Hebrew man. Ivri. Ivriya. How do you say Moses' mom in English? Yoshabab, I think I heard it once. She was an Ivriya. And the language Hebrew, Ivrit. And we saw this example with American, Amerikai, Amerikait, and then English. There's no American language. Or, for example, we spoke about English woman, Anglia, Englishman, Angli, and then the English language is Anglit. So we hear how ending it signals either a profession, a language, something else that is not just referring to the person. Ivriya and Ivri. There's also a singer in Israel called Ivri Lider, very famous in Israel. A lot of people know them. Maybe I will send some next email, some by him. Questions about this? Awesome. So I am going to share screen again. Okay, we're back on the presentations. We did the plural and singular. We just had an example of 50, chamishim. We said there's no chamishot. And we know that ot is the way that pluralizes female sounds, female nouns, and so on and so forth. We gave examples. There was the example you just gave, ma'am, Yeled for a boy, Yalda for a girl, Yeladim for boys, a group of children, and Yeladot, a group of little girls. Continuing on. And we did pronouns, the infamous ani, anachnu, at, hu, he. If you remember all those repeating sounds, which all mean he means she, and and all of those backwards sounds. I tried to spice it up with all of the examples on the worksheets here on the presentations. I'm continuing on. A few minutes.
Dog is fish.
We spoke about the plural, him, hen, like a chicken, atem, anachnu, us, we are. And we did speak about how he is or are, do, and so on and so forth. Those don't exist in Hebrew. They do exist in English. In Hebrew, they are implied. So I am, that will just be ani. And we spoke about questions. We kind of practiced that more later in the classes. Ma, what? We spoke about ma shlomcha or ma shlomech. What is your peace? Mi, who? Mi ani, who am I? Mi ata, who are you? Efo, where? We had some examples. Where's the bus station? Efo, tachanat ha'autobus. On the worksheets. Eize, which, or sometimes it'll be how. I don't think I used some examples of that. We have some examples here, and I am sending this presentation all to you. This presentation is basically a compilation of slides from other presentations. So you all have this already. We did vocabulary building as much as possible. If there's one note I've taken to myself is doing more of that into the future. And I did, before I forget, I made some questionnaires here. I would appreciate people filling them out so I know what to do better, what to improve, what to do less, what to do more. I'm continuing on. Possessive pronouns, we just said about shelcha, shelach, sheli, shelo, shela, and so on and so forth. I've been saying so on and so forth a lot, so might as well continue. We saw how something we didn't learn but exists is that it's embedded into the noun. Mashlomcha, mashlomech, we just did that. Less of is something I want you all to remember. Know that it's out there. There are a lot of things out there. Days of the week, we usually do our lessons on Tuesdays, Yom Shlishi. Yom Shlishi, the third day. And you might notice that it's very close to Shalosh. Shlishi is a conjugation of Shalosh. It means third instead of three. And same for Rishon, Sheni, Revi'i, Chamishi. The irregular is Shabbat, which means the day he has ceased or stopped. You remember. We did to, from, in, at. Another one of those things I wish I had done more of. We do practice them in the worksheets. Remember, those are the ones we slur. No shame in, let's say I'm practicing, I'm watching a video, watching a series. I'm not sure what they say. Why? I do that a lot. And we put it together. We made some sentences, different kinds of sentences, simple ones, verb dependent ones. We did some colors, practiced some colors. We did the verbs, and we learned about different types of verbs. The verbs that need context, like I need. What do you need? I want. What do you want? In Hebrew, they require context. And the other verbs, I eat, I drink, I go, I return, I exit, I enter, I'm writing, and so on and so forth. We did the colors, and one of the more important things that I want you all to remember, it's less important for this level of learning, we spoke about the roots of verbs. If I am to dwell on that real quick, and give another example, we spoke about the word shalom, which means peace. Shalom has a root to it. And I want to show you. We have the word shalom. The root of the word shalom is Shin Lamed Mem. When I turn Shin Lamed Mem into a word, it is a word when made into a word. Of course, I'm making the final Mem. Shalem. Shalem. Shalem means whole. Something that is whole. Ani shalem, I am whole. Well, what else? So it's not full, means whole. Okay, it's complete. And it, shalom is derived from it. I'm going to go back to my presentation. Share screen. So roots of the verb, very important, especially for future learning, because once you start adding more and more meaning and using other verbs, reflexive, passive, we have the examples here. when you want to say more complicated things, we use the roots a lot more. They help us and make sure we're writing correctly and that the meaning is correct. This is one of those things that doesn't exist in English, does in Hebrew. You can see it in the. So we said how po'al is an action, a verb or an action, and then you have pa'al, pl, hif'il, hitpa'el, huf'al, pu'al, nif'al, all different molds, right? We spoke about the molds. They will give you different words with different meanings. Active verbs, I'm doing something, reflexive verbs, I'm responding to something, passive, and so on and so forth. Continuing on, please.
Example of passive, please.
You know what? Let's do it together. I'm gonna stop sharing so I can find it real quick. So I did send, if you remember, I sent this website. I'm gonna share screen again so you can see what I'm talking about. The website Pe'alim. Let's see which parts it gives us here. This is a word I had here when I made for the worksheet. Lachzor, to return. Let's see if it gives us there. Gives us the root, as you can see, part of the speech. I don't think it'll actually say passive specifically. Sorry?
But the passive would be that in English, you could say, I took something. But if you wanted to say, I was taken, or it was taken,
Yeah.
that.
So to answer that, this website doesn't specifically say, but just to give an example using this word here, I will stop sharing so I can write it on the board. So the example was to return. Okay, that's the infinite version. To return. Lachzor. Down. And then passive is like something was returned, right? And that will be something we didn't learn, but for the sake of answering right now. Uchzar. Uchzar. And just to show you on our presentation here, I'm gonna share screen again. Huf'al, it's passive. See here, I'm moving my cursor on it. Huf'al. Uchzar, that's the mold. It sounds tricky, but truth be told, it's really easy. It's just a matter of not doing it all at once, so you won't be confused. But it summarizes itself up by changing the vowels. Okay, but apparently the website I sent doesn't have it. I'll look for other tools. What we did, we focused on present and present progressive because they are conjoined in Hebrew, so to speak. We had some examples for verbs. We did the dependent verbs, and we did particle et. If you remember, which was annoying, and I struggled with making examples for. The one I could was I had an AI generator do immigration officers asking for or directing a woman to hand over the passport. So the passport, please. Et hadarkon bevakasha. Remember, et speaks about something that is specific. And we know from context, every person will have their own passport. Or if I'm an immigration officer and I'm asking you for your passport, you for the passport, it means yours. That being said, I'm done with my slides. There are a few things I wanted to say. And so I guess I can move here for that. That concludes our material and the syllabus at hand that we set out to learn. There are a lot of things I wanted to caveat first. Usually what happens is that people, and I know it from me taking other languages, somewhere along the middle, it differs with a bell curve, some along more to the finishing line, some more early on, people get discouraged. It's hard. Taking a language is hard. I'm telling you that so you won't. And I deliberately avoided stuff like Aleph Bet songs to make you feel even more like babies. Taking a language is a serious business, not to be ashamed of and not to be discouraged by. One of the things that I took as a very great importance to me is to make sure you have the opportunities or the possibilities, options, to have Hebrew in your life day to day. So whether it be music, and I try to dash it out from all different genres and times, whether it be movies or series. Remember, my mom sat me down in front of the Hallmark channel, and it worked. It worked. I had English present in my life. I'm 29. I had English present in my life for 29 years. And I know that for a fact because my mom's English was exquisite. My little brother here, his English is exquisite. So yeah, exposure, repetition, listening, hearing, the sounds repeat. That's why I specifically flagged those to you all. And the rabbi has asked and wants to do some music for us, music to practice for songs that we agreed about that are good to practice the vocabulary and level of Hebrew that we have. Before that, I do want to say that I had a few learning curves teaching this lesson. Setting out to do it, I wanted to do stuff like Kahoot. I wanted to do music analyzing together. As we moved forward more and more, I realized I don't have time for half of it. Because the idea was to create something that has enough to learn, so you won't learn 12 lessons and it's really not a lot. I firmly believe and stand behind the syllabus of this lesson. It has a lot of, it's definitely a good basis for learning for the future. The reason I say that is, we have very good foundation. I said that on the first lesson. I believe in the basics. Aleph, Bet, vowels, starting from single possessive pronouns, single nouns, building up. Remember, start with your own and add on to that. It works. So I did not get to do Kahoot. Unfortunately, I did not get to do music. I sincerely hope you've been listening to it. And in a moment, Rabbi will do some more music for us here. Another reason why I didn't do it is because for some reason at the beginning of the lessons, the projector played music or audio through it, and for some reason now it doesn't.
What? We
It
can't
doesn't.
get, oh, that, like.
No, this. So there's an inside a built-in speaker. It doesn't work for some reason. It did the first few lessons. What I want to do now, before I forget, is I'm going to hand in class the questionnaires, and I have a few pencils and pen here. By all means, it's important for me so I know how to do better for next future lessons. Bear with me. This was a pilot lesson. I apologize for any incompetence. The idea is to do better for our congregation coming into the future and other students. So I'm passing these out. You will get these in via email. Please fill them out. It will help me. And right before I hand it over to the rabbi, I do want to say one last thing. If anyone doesn't have and pen, you guys will by all means let me know. And I have other hard copies here. And before I forget, I want to say this has been a long, very fruitful, enriching, enjoying journey. And I did not do it alone. I want to say thank you first and foremost to Stephanie Sterling and the board and education committee for approving this lesson, this class, and helping me build it, and helping me facilitate it via recordings, via Zoom. I also want to say thank you to Dr. Jason Bloomberg, my dear friend, who also helps me via making sure the recordings are uploaded to YouTube, making sure that it's all available for our congregation and all you students. Thank you, Dr. Bloomberg and Stephanie Sterling. I want to say thank you to my son and teacher's assistant, Max, who helped me all throughout. Mary and others who cleaned the board and did other stuff. Carrie, who helped me set up the classrooms. Gretchen and James, who donated a whiteboard to the synagogue that hopefully once we fix the camera problem, we'll be able to use instead of the black one. But thank you all for participating in this lesson. I tried my hardest. I hope it showed. This is definitely not 100% of what I set out to do, but it's definitely at least 75, so I'm happy with it. And if there are no any other questions.
Well, I'm gonna hand it back to you
Oh.
at the end anyway. Can we please have a hand for Matani?
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, no.
Do you want me to pull up the email with
Well, I
the,
just sent you a revised version because it was all that last one was all messed. And
Okay.
this is, I took out Dodie Lee for one second, it was just too messy.
I have this one?
Yeah, the one I just sent. So if that's gonna work, to project, but everybody here has it in hard copy. It's the people at home. Or if you prefer, you can hand on here, let me do share screen. I'm talking about for people at home. Amber, is this you online? You're online too, okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just plugging in the
Huh?
projector, so
Okay,
we'll
that's
project on
fine.
the screen. I downloaded this, right?
Take a break and eat something if you like.
Yeah, we can definitely take a break, fill in your questionnaires. Thank you, Amber Dawn, for providing us with treats and stuff. Thank you very much.
We have a chef here.
Downloads. Supernova, Colorado.
Yeah, I just sent that to you.
And another thing,
They're showing the movie in Denver on Wednesday night. So I just sent it to a bunch of you.
okay,
Jason,
awesome,
Phyllis, Stephanie,
awesome.
you know, but it's a play. It's Wednesday night.
So here, I'm just opening up and it says, why isn't it projecting? Am I sharing my screen? Not yet. Oh, yeah, now it's working here. Think.
Well, for you guys here, and you can look at the sheets. But if you want to, there you go.
So we have Hatikva, Hine Matov Umanayim, Shalom Aleichem. These are songs we do. We should know them. Adon Olam, Ani Ve'ata. You love that one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's one more.
Yeah.
And there's also the.
I don't know why it's not projecting here.
But it's working on, okay, thank God it's working at home for the folks.
Oh, before I forget, the one comment on chat here that I did not see, forgive me. Jason Bloomberg said the Jewish calendars our synagogue distributes has the dates in Hebrew letters, as do the gravestones in our Jewish cemetery. Okay, so that relates to the numerical value. And I'm gonna try to fix the projection here. And I'm just gonna-
It's, is that the same one that we use? Yeah.
Why isn't it?
Right,
Yeah,
well,
as you can see, we have many.
showing your email, but.
I don't know why it's not projecting. Maybe the thing again.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll.
Oh, yeah. No.
Start, there we go. And I asked Matani if this, I assumed you're gonna have a party, which obviously you are with the food that Amber's on to fun. But
You want to sit here, Rabbi, or?
I'll I'll come up in a second. Okay,
I'm gonna grab something.
yeah, take a break, go eat something.
She made that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, I don't feel right taking the teacher's spot up here, but, okay, all right. So, I just suggested a couple of weeks ago to Matani that this would be fun to do applied Hebrew. And I don't know, I've been watching the films and watching what you guys been doing, but I don't know how many people have gotten through things. Rick, could you bring me a copy of the hard copy one? It's there too. But you know what, Matani, I don't want to start with Hatikva. I just want to make sure that this thing, okay, go. Yes, I have the mouse and it goes this way. Let's do Hine Matov. All right, so first I wanted to say that in general, and it's his class, but this is something I hold very dear to my heart. You all know, so keep on writing, filling out your forms. You all know that I grew up in summer camps and I grew up hearing, Pete Seeger and Arlo Guthrie and all the American folk songs. And when I went to a particular summer camp in LA, I started learning the Hebrew songs, but I learned them all phonetically, just like a lot of you learned transliteration. But the purpose of this class, one of the purposes of this class was to liberate you from using transliteration. So this will be a test today to see how well you guys can read. And I'm not just talking about, let's say, Jeff, who I know reads pretty well. So I picked songs that were, in most cases, easy enough that we'd heard them before somewhere, except in a couple of cases. Shalom Aleichem, which we do at services. So the other thing I wanted to point out is, like I said, when I went to summer camp, and a lot of us did, we used song sheets or we had booklets. And my mind was blown when I went to Israel for my first trip at age 19. And I don't even know whether today they use song sheets. They might have them in classes, but for the most part, and this is before the days of computers and screens like this and Zooms and stuff like that, everything was done on slides. And they're called shkufiot. So it was projected onto a wall, and that was how they would do it. And it's huge in Israel. Even today, even all the folk songs and stuff are done, and you'll sit on in a hall or in a synagogue or in a group setting, and it was a big Saturday night event for the kibbutz crowd or for people. And the last song we're going to do is this song called Ani Ve'ata, You and I. And there's your Hebrew, easy words, 2 words you do know already. Ani, I, Ata, you. And the guy who wrote it, whose name was Arik Einstein, when he died, it's going about 15 years ago, I went to a big gathering of Israelis and Americans too, some Americans, in Orange County, California, and it was the same thing. They just did all the thing, everything was on slides, all on slides. So, and the slides are usually much better quality than this, with pictures and so on. So I wanted to comment that that's the way it's done in Israel. They don't do song sheets, they do a lot on slides. Today, a lot of synagogues are using slides for their services as well, because you can project it. Maybe someday we'll do that. So I want to start with Hine Matov. And so just a show of hands. How many of you think that you, aside from Ron and Matani and Jeff, how many of you think you might be able to sound out the Hebrew at this point? Yeah? I bet you could. Okay, so it's on page, in the hard copy, it's on page 2 at the top, or up there on the board, it's Hine Matov. So we do this at services. So let's sound it out. Hey, with a chirik of the E sound, he. Everybody say he. He, okay. Nay. All right, so it's in 2 dots is a tzere. Is that big enough? Or we want to turn the lights down? Up there. Oh, okay. Huh?
We
You
can-
got it on the sheets. All right, the folks at home, you'll use yours. Yeah, those of you here will use the song sheet, so we're gonna be lazy about it. Okay, so I know you know the song, some of you know the song, but so.
So this is the one I'm
I
moving my
see
cursor
myself,
around.
good,
it.
okay, yeah, want to be bigger if you can. Now, this particular one, because of I just copied from all over the place, this particular one has trope signs, those are little squiggly things that don't look like vowels, don't pay attention to those. You know why? Because it was from a Siddur. Hine Matov is from a psalm. So, you know the song, behold, Hine Matov, how good, Umanaim, and how pleasant, Shevet, to dwell, Achim, or, and a lot of synagogues today put in Achot, brothers and sisters, Gam Yachad. So let's try the Hebrew. Hine, are you reading? You're really reading the Hebrew, okay? Because I don't want to rush through. Ma, Tov, Uma, Naim. Okay, Naim, and the accent's on the im. Shevet, Achim. We're just going to do Achim today, okay? Gam, Yachad. Okay, so I don't want to dwell on translation, but more on phonetic. But let's just, for this one, it's easy enough. Hine is, in Old Hebrew would be behold. But you could also say, like, where is this? Hine, here it is. You know, and say, Hine, you know, or are you there? Where are you? Are you Hine, I'm here. It's like in every first grade class, you know. Where is Yaakov? Hineni, I'm here. Okay, so here it is, or behold. Matov, Tov is good, you know that? Everybody knew that? Okay. How good? Matov. All right, it's biblical Hebrew, this particular one. Ooh, did they learn ooh in place of the? Matani?
Yeah, but I did say that in Israel, we will usually bet.
Okay, so because of the mem coming in as a lead in, it's in this case, ooh is the same thing. So behold how good and how pleasant it is to dwell together in peace. So anybody need any more clarification on the Hebrew? Let's do this one.
Ready to hear it,
Huh?
and we're ready to.
Yeah. Hine matov anayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov anayim shevet achim. But notice you're reading it without transliteration. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. So a little history on the song too is that that's the old version, kind of classic from the 1920s, probably even before that. And it's kind of sentimental, but in Israel, and Jeff and Mary will recognize this, there's the Israeli version of it. It's kind of more, I don't want to say just upbeat, it's also more confident, more almost not militant. I don't want to say that word because it's not about armies, but you know, we do believe in peace and we're going to have peace because we also have a strong army. So it's got that, and it's also got a Yemenite style to it. And you know this one as well. But look at the Hebrew as you do. La 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 la. La 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 la. B'nei matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. B'nei matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. And there's the bridge. B'nei matov u'manayim. La 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 la. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. And when I was growing up, we learned it with a group, two male singers and a female singer called Oranim Zabar. And the guys would sing, hine, hine, ma tov, ma, you know, it's like very macho. Let's go back to Shalom Lechem. Yes, ma'am. What? Another version of Hine Matov or? Oh. I don't recognize it. Cool. Oh, cool. Is that a dance version?
Well, I guess in the middle.
Yeah, there was a lead in, yeah. Cool. It's a chorus of kids. How do I go back to, okay, let's see.
Love from Israeli dance.
Yeah.
Hine Matov.
If you want to improve your Hebrew, come to Israeli dance.
That's right, that's right. But,
Both the last two we have.
Yes,
okay.
yes, ma'am.
where do how do I get this to go?
Oh, then we-
Yeah, I don't wanna do stop share.
Stop share?
No, I didn't want to do stop share. I wanted to just move it up. Oh, it's on the mouse.
Shalom
Okay. Would you like to do Shalom Aleichem? Because you guys know that, or you want to jump into something a little more challenging?
If I may,
I think so. What?
I will say,
Wait,
I
we
would
got
love to do
Ani
Ani Vata because it's more modern
Fine,
Hebrew.
Yofi,
I
okay,
will minimize it a little bit. so we
Okay.
can-
fine, Yofi. Okay, so, this is not even modern anymore. It's 40 years old, but, you with me? Okay, so, I look up, just look up Arik, Arik, Einstein, just like, Albert
I
Einstein.
think we encountered him in our music email.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And like a lot of the Israeli singers, almost everybody that's a singer today or an actor got their start in the Army entertainment troupe. They would go into the Army, they do their basic training, but then, you know, if they were talented, they would be picked to be in either a music part of it or a drama part of it. So Gal Gadot, you know, Wonder Woman, got her start in the Israeli army. She was a trainer, a sergeant, you know, as well as being in the entertainment. So Arik was in the entertainment troupe. He was in a group in the early 60s called the High Windows. It was kind of, it sounded a lot like Peter, Paul and Mary. It was two guys and a woman, so it was like Peter, Paul and Mary. And then he went off on his own. And this is from about 1972. And so I say that because it's very optimistic. It's at the period right after the 67 war, and everybody, you know, kind of believes peace will come and you and I can change the world. So let's practice the Hebrew. And the only thing I could say for Matani's benefit is it has a future verb that you may not have learned yet, but it's not that hard. Ani together. So there's your aleph, right? With the kamatz and the two dots, the shvat, so it's kamatz chatuf. And the only reason that's necessary, I don't do grammar, is because ani, aleph is a weak letter. So ani is how you spell that. Ve is and, ata. So you and I, that we would say in English. So, and you'll forgive the gender thing. It's you and I is anybody. It's not just men, because at would be Hebrew for women. So, ani ve ata together. This is how you do it. Nishaneh et ha'olam.
Particle
Et, yeah, right. Particle et. Yeah, you have to have that because you have et ha, the world. You and I will change the world. And looking at the third word, the verb there, I don't want to overanalyze, but so shana is a word that you may recognize as you say good New Year, Shana Tova. You also say Vishinantam levanecha. You will teach these words to your children in the V'ahavta. So Shana there's a three-letter root, like Matani was saying. It means to teach, to change, or to repeat, kind of thing. So it's a future tense, nishanet, we will change. So that's sounds so 60s, 70s. You and I will change the world. You and I, and then everyone will come, following along. Amru ezekodem, they told us from the beginning, it wouldn't make any difference. Lo mashanet, and lo mashanet could mean, and the fourth line could mean, it doesn't matter that they told us it won't change, or it could mean we don't, it won't change. It won't be different. So here's the song. I'll do it one time just so you can hear it. Ani ve'ata tishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata az yavo kvar kulam. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. And then the electric guitar came in and it was la 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 la, and everybody went. So we all, when we had no guitars, we would just do la 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 la. So do that part. La 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 la. Yeah, back to the Hebrew. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Read the Hebrew. Ani ve'ata az yavohu kvar kulam. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. What was your name again? Kathy is the only one singing, working on the Hebrew. And maybe you all were too. You were really good. Okay, so, but my point was, don't rely, and I said this to Matani earlier, don't rely on transliteration. When you come back to services, see if you can liberate your eyes away from the transliteration. You will see your Hebrew go exponentially. Barechu, right? Shema, you can do it. It's not hard. Okay, you want to try the second verse? All right, very easy. Ani ve'ata, there you go again. Ninase. Let's try that word. Ninase. We will try. Me hatkala. Me hatkala. Got it? So we will try from the beginning. We're going to start again, right? Yihiyeh. Let's try that word. Yihiyeh. It will be, future tense of to be. Lanu. Ra. Who knows what Ra means? Is that a word that you learned? It'll be tough. It'll be hard. It'll be difficult. Ein davar. Great word to know. Great phrase to know. Don't worry. Ein davar. No big deal. No biggie. Zelo nora. Zelo nora. Let's try that. Ze lo nora. It's not so bad. And then it repeats. The third line is the same as the first verse. Amru et ze kodem lifanai ze lo mishaneh. It doesn't make any difference. We're going to do it. So very idealistic song. Okay, here we go. Let's try verse 2 now, slowly. Ani ve'ata inase mehatala yihiyeh lanu ra. Yihiyeh lanu ra. Ein davar ze lo nora. Amru et ze kodem לפניי, זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. La 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 la. La 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 la. All right. just for ending, let's do, I gotta go back to the mousey mouse. Mouse doesn't work for me.
Because it's on the table.
Oh, okay, put it over there, put it on here. You just worked on the word shalom with Matani. So let's do a familiar song. No, I can't get it to go. Let me slide back up. Shalom Aleichem. Here it is. I got it. Shalom Aleichem is on back. Oh, for you guys at home or it's on what was called page 2 on your sheets. Okay, so let's try this. When you greet a Jew, what do you say? Stop share. No, I don't want to stop share. Just, huh? What do you? Yeah, you say Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem is peace be upon you. And the Arabs and Muslims say Assalamu alaikum. Right? So peace be upon you. So as you probably heard me do my spiel on Friday night services, this is a medieval song greeting the angels. Shalom. Let's try it. Shalom. So final mem in shalom. Aleichem. Again, another final mem. And the mem at the end of the words always going to be square. Malache. Hasharet. Are you reading it? Don't just imitate, just follow me. Malache Elyon. Now we're gonna notice something. It's not necessarily intended, but it becomes a play on the similarities between the word malach, which is angel, malachim, or angelic beings or things, and the word melech, which are not related. Melech is king, right?
And I'm going to show you here.
Okay, yeah.
Malache, which means angels.
Angels of.
And
yeah.
angels of.
Mhm.
And Malche, which means kings of. Or
Right.
king of.
King of kings.
King
The
of
king of kings.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the tonality here plays.
Yeah.
It will say that Aleichem speaks to a plural group of people.
Nachon, yeah,
Like him, if you remember.
right.
Sorry, Rabbi Bellamy.
Yeah, you say Shalom Alecha, but nobody says that. Alecha, alayich. Shalom alay. If you're greeting yourself in the mirror in the morning, you say Shalom alay. I don't think anybody would say that.
For a woman, Shalom alayhi.
Alayich, yeah.
Mashlomeh.
Mashallah, right. Or in Arabic, salam alek.
Yeah.
But give me a smart alek. All right, so you know the song because you've heard it before, but so let's try it now with just reading only the Hebrew, not transliteration. Shalom aleichem malache hasharet. That means angels, service angels. Malache elyon. Oh, this is the last song. Mi melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu. Okay, so now this is a really great phrase to know, by the way. If you want to be a little more respectful, we don't walk around all day saying Adonai, Adonai, Yud He Vav He, Elohim. We say Hakadosh. Let's try it. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Holy One, blessed be He, which is, we know God is not a He, but it's just an expression. So if you were talking to a chassid, or Rabbi Yaakov from Laramie, he might say, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, instead of saying God, it would say, the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And you'll hear them say that. So this is, as I said, it's a medieval poem, and Eliezer Askiri. So, greetings to you, the angels who come down from high, angels from on high, from the King of kings, the Holy One, blessed is He. So let's do first and second verse, and then we'll call it a night. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Boachem. Oh, no, we want to go to Boachem? Let's do Boachem, second verse, okay. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei. Even if you know it, the fact is you're reading it in Hebrew. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The only thing that's different now is Boachem. Boachem l'shalom. Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. All right, thank you again, Matani Toda Rabba.
Thank you very much.
Now return your, they control your television set.
Thank you very much.
That's from the outer limit.
I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna send this file in the email destined to follow this lesson as well. Thank you everyone for joining. I will be sending everything to you. For those who are not here, please, by all means, fill out the feedback questionnaire so I'll know what to do better, what to do less, what to do more of. That's for the sake of future students. I will say, when another one of the reasons I didn't do songs is there's really rarely are the songs that are all in present or present progressive. But the way to do it is to challenge yourself and try with the other tenses that we did not learn yet, future, past. We just heard a few examples. Thank you. That's it for me. If anyone needs me, by all means, Stephanie, we can stop the recording. The rabbi has an announcement.